Hi, I'm Margo Sorum of Yoga Therapists of Alaska, and today I want to go over a resting pose, a resting renewing pose. It's also an inversion. So let's get started. Scooch up to the wall, and you kind of sit sideways to the wall, and then you swivel your legs up and your spine onto your mat. Now, you could scooch all the way up and touch your sit bones to the wall, but this requires a really big hamstring stretch, and a lot of us aren't able to do that. And it's not that comfortable to me either. So I tend to scooch away from the wall and look for the Goldilocks spot of the day. So in this position, I feel the lean and weight of my legs going into my hips. I feel my sacrum, my low back is low, and I rest with my arms in any position that might feel good. This is the way I start a lot of classes, because it brings the student inwards and it gives them a chance to just feel their own body, and we do some breathing awareness. So I'm going to take you through that right now. Put your hands on your belly, and as you inhale, feel the belly rise, and exhale, feel the belly soften. This is the way babies breathe. They haven't developed muscles in their chest, so they're belly breathers. Many people have become reverse breathers, so we need to retrain this. Inhale is the belly rising, exhale is the belly falling. This is our most relaxing breath, and ideally this is the way we're sleeping at night. So I ask my students to practice this, calming themselves down at night and sleeping with their belly breath. And then we evolved and we did thoracic breath. So we're going to inhale and breathe sideways into the rib cage. Lengthen down into the belly. As you exhale, stabilize the belly like a seatbelt and lengthen through the spine. Inhale into the ribs. Exhale, tubularize. One of my teachers, Bill French, calls this jellyfish breathing. And it does feel like that. So find your jellyfish breath. You'll hear me cue this breath a lot when we're in the poses, because it brings on that core bracing. But when we're resting in between the poses, we want to return to that belly breath, where we feel the rising belly and the falling belly. And reassure your students that breathing in this way isn't going to make them fatter. In fact, we tend to gain weight around the belly because we're tense and sucking it in. And that means we're in a state of tension, not of release and letting go. So as we start to make the belly flexible and mobile, it tends to reshape itself into its ideal shape. And it's really hard because we tell everybody to suck it in, which means we're putting a tourniquet on these visceral organs that actually need our blood flow and our movement. So you could stay here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. At home, do it for 20 minutes. That's a complete practice. I often call this the recharge pose. Just like our cell phones or laptops need to be plugged in to fully recharge, so do our bodies. And so this does that. It reverses the blood flow and brings it back to the heart and the lungs and the mind, all on this level playing field. So this is a very safe inversion. And then we're going to put it into a more advanced variation where we bring it up into a shoulder stand. So you are going to scooch all the way up to the wall. So your butt kisses the wall. Your hands come here. And then this is the dangerous part. Once you set up and are committed to moving, the neck does not move. So I'm not going to look at you anymore. My head needs to stay in line for this movement, because this is where the danger happens with stroke. Bend your knees. This is like your bridge rolls, your double-footed back bend. So you are going to use your hamstrings and your glutes. Notice my knees are staying stacked and they're not wonking around. So I'm just joint stacked with my ankles, my knees, and my hip joints. My arms are here to help me go up and down, and this is only part way up, so it's a warm up, and you'll feel the strengthening quality in the quads, in the glutes, in the hamstrings. And then we go up 1 foot length and we do it again. I kind of like my cabinet wall here. It's keeping me honest. Both feet have to be even. That's awesome. So you are thinking of this as if you were lining up your feet with props, maybe a block distance apart. And then this last time, I'm going to straighten my legs entirely. I'm going to lift up, my feet come to the walls, and I come up higher. And I stand up on my shoulder blades. And then I lower down. And this is a wonderful massage for the back. Keep your head from moving to side. Make sure your nose is just looking in between your legs. That's the drishti point. Make sure the knees aren't walking around. And then we might, over time, start to increase and stay. At this point, you can walk the hands underneath for support and then literally make it a shoulder stand. But I think of this as more an elbow stand because I am using my elbows to stand on. And then I'm letting one leg come up and the other leg come up, but notice my legs are over my hips. So what a lot of people tend to do is they pitch. But I'd like to see you float the legs over the hips down into the elbows. And we practice the shoulder stand here as an elbow stand. And this is a really safe variation to teach if you're near the wall. I'd rather the students not just roll up into this on their own so that they're careful with each other and themselves. And then there's a really careful placement back to the ball with the hands, and then slowly lowering down. And then maybe inchworming away to where it's comfortable and receive the benefit. Please keep in mind that that is not a warm-up move. So just staying here and doing your breath practice as Viparita Karani, that's a beginning of the class move or an end of the class move. This bridge roll up the wall is at the end of the class after you've done a lot of other postures and you're kind of honing in the energy at the end. There's a lot of other fun things that you can do from this position. One is that you could cross the ankle and do a number 4 stretch, but scooch away from the wall enough so you make a 90-degree angle and the sacrum is still on the floor. So we don't want the sit bones to lift up off the floor, keeping the spine long. And then you can do it into a rotation, into a twist. And you can use the hand to push this open, and now it's a little bit more of a piriformis, IT band, tensor fascia, a lot of stretch. And then you can turn it into a double leg twist on the floor. So lovely. I call this the hammock twist because the legs are going to the right, but you are leaning into your back like a hammock. And then you go back up and we do our other side. So we bend that other leg, come into your number 4 stretch. Enjoy that here. Think knees wide. A lot of times students do weird overcrossing, but notice we kind of want to track in lines with our shoulders. And then let it come over into that number 4 twist. Lower the arm so it's at a 90-degree angle too. And then come into your twist. This is a fun place to practice the arm balance. We'll do this in the twisting workshop, but I'll show a little preparatory work here. So this is a nice one if you're going to practice arm balances. The arms swivel down to make kind of a tripod, and this lower leg has to lift up. And then you resist against the forearms to find that deeper twist. I'll show that on this side too. So if you're going to prepare for arm balance, the arm would come down here. You'd bend the elbows. It's like a handstand. Bring it down into a push-up, one of our chaturanga push-ups, and then slide the knees up so they're on the forearm. And then students can measure whether or not they're going to be able to do the arm balance. Good. And just for fun, I haven't warmed up, but I will show you that arm balance because it's just exactly the same thing, but right here on your hands, you'd start here, take a little twist and bring the elbow against the thigh, bring the hands down, and then you're pitching into your push-up. Slide the legs out a little bit, and you're coming into the arm balance. And so it's just your twist on your side on your arms. So just a few other things to incorporate these inversions done safely and starting to even prepare for some arm balance. In addition, I wanted to take the time to talk you through our resources that we have for you. The two essential resources for this course, for this curriculum, is the Yoga Toolbox. It has all these fantastic cards that you can kind of take out, rearrange, and design your class sequences with. And they have lovely instructions to tell you how to cue everything. So this is an amazing resource for you and your students if they choreograph some of the poses. The other one is Natural Posture for Pain-Free Living by Kathleen Porter. And this is kind of that whole discussion about what happened to our posture. How did we culturally become slouchers? And it really was a fashion thing. So we're kind of needing to relearn the fashion of what good posture looks like and feels like, and really help teach our students this while we're teaching ourselves, because we're all in this together. And then there's a bunch of other resources in these sequences. The way that I cue, the way that I might have brought postures were learned from these other books. A really lovely resource is this Daring to Rest. It'll take you through some interesting meditations and shavasanas to talk your students through. Exercises for the joints and glands. Swami Rama started the Himalayan Institute. He's no longer living, but he would prescribe those directions of movement practices as a safe way to prepare students for asanas. And it's a lovely little guide. 7 ways to a pain-free life, or 7 steps to a pain-free life. This is the Mackenzie method, and he really goes through these safe ways to rejuvenate your spine. And he's helped hundreds of thousands of people prevent back surgeries. And really that's something that all of our students are going to face. If they do not fix and correct their posture and the way they move on a daily basis, all day long, they'll be candidates for back surgeries. So we want to prevent that. And then these books by Mark Stevens are really helpful. Teachers tend to just love them. They're not personally my favorites, but they do a good job of kind of talking through good cueing, good adjusting, having good eyes. So I do like them in that sense as a learning tool. And then Move Your DNA. I only could pick one, but Katie Bowman has 8 or 9 books, and they're all fantastic. I've read them all. And she has a podcast, and it's fantastic. And Katie Bowman is just a pioneer in the world of biomechanics, and any physical education teacher is going to just love listening to her podcasts and learning about her work. And in this book, I pick it because it starts to talk about this nutritious cardio. And really, we misunderstand the science of cardio. And what we're looking for is more nutritious cardio rather than straining cardio. And yoga provides us with this nourishing cardio that really is going to support us for long-term health. The role model. Jill Miller is brilliant. She has amazing DVDs. She's probably the person, if I were to recommend DVDs, get Jill Miller DVDs. They're amazing. She teaches movement in a very understandable way, intelligent, great anatomy. And this book really does kind of take you through tons of things that you can do for self-care, and it teaches you all about the muscles and the key muscles that you'll want to teach your students. And then, these are the premier texts. This is what Shelley and I are going to be using in our 300-hour teacher training, and they're the most up-to-date resources for teachers of movement. And they're really how to honor your tissues. It's called Yoga for Your Body, Your Yoga, Your Spine, Your Yoga. And this is definitely for the geeks. If you want to know how to move your body and what the science is, these are just fantastic resources, and I wanted to make sure that you knew about them because they're really brand new. In addition, I have a couple of audio downloads. I made them for my UAA students, and you can buy them easily on Amazon or online. They're MP3 files, and since we've now done this face-to-face time together, I know that you would love doing these practices, and you can practice them over and over again for less than the cost of a yoga class. So please consider working with those. The series is called Spinal Floss, Yoga for Your Back, Spinal Floss, Yoga for Your Psoas, and spinal floss, yoga for relaxation, the art of Shavasana. Also, please let Yoga Therapists of Alaska know how we can serve you, train you, assist you, help you. Our website is www.yogatherapyak.com. And I also just want to send a shout out to Melanie Sutton, who just did an amazing job of finding us and asking us to help and wanting to provide the high school PE teachers with the very best curriculum for your students. So, namaste to you one and all.